Okay, welcome everyone to the AAC in the Cloud 2024, sponsored by Forbes AAC, Cough Drop AAC, and Open AAC. We are excited today to present Jessica Smith, and her presentation is titled How AT and AAC Changed Me. So I'm going to hand it over to her. She did ask that we wait and do all the questions at the end. So at the end, we'll have some time and we'll go through anything put in the Slack channel track 1. All you, Jessica.
All right. So I had to warn people. Sometimes I can be a little sarcastic on my presentations, but I pretty much had to read everything off a script because this is a lot to say. So luckily there's going to be hopefully not a lot of sarcasm, and hopefully the power doesn't go out this time because last time I gave the presentation, my power went out. So let's get this up and running. I should have had it up and running. So my name is Jessica. Hold on. I should have prepared. There we go. So this is my presentation, how AAC and AT changed me. I hope you enjoy this presentation, and it's going to be presented by me, Jessica Smith. I want to start with my news story back in January of 2023, when Becca Hendrickson from 6ABC interviewed me and my dad about the communication boards I make. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please let me know if you can't hear it.
Knowledge about a condition that can make communication more than just a challenge, but faced with Asperger's as a hurdle, Jessica Smith came up with a way to help so many others overcome it. And what she created could well save a lot of lives. Becca Hendrickson now with tonight's Hometown Hero.
They would point to the symbols
at this Upper Chichester Township firehouse.
if they were nonverbal.
Jessica Smith is showing her EMS dad
That's really good.
an idea she thinks could help every first responder.
They aren't trained well enough most of the time to deal with people with disabilities, and I wanted to make these boards to start a change.
These are some of her communications boards.
They have pictures and easy phrases.
Like, when is your birthday? Or scared. It's based on a board making program the 19-year-old has used her whole life.
I care because I personally have autism, and I've had some instances with the police. None of them were really too bad.
Still,
Pain scale on it
she thought the interactions could have gone better.
for people that may have sensory issues.
So she got to work.
She saw a need. She saw a need that was out there, and she had an interest in helping people.
She's worked with police departments across Delaware County to tailor communications boards to their needs. And now the idea is really gaining steam.
I sent boards to Richland County, South Carolina, and I've also sent boards to Nye County, Nevada.
It looks like one of the things you've learned from making all these boards is that you can adapt them to different jobs in different situations. Like you made one for my job.
Yeah,
Can you explain to me what you put on here?
you'd point and the person would point back to like what they were saying.
As Jessica teaches these boards to anyone who will listen.
Ever since I've started doing this, I've been getting better practice with social skills.
She's building a community where we can all be a little more understanding.
The officer would point back to communicate. Moderator, did you hear that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
That was great.
I think I forgot to turn on the speaker, so I got nervous and turned on the captions halfway through. All right, so my name is Jessica Smith. I'm of class of 2023 high school graduate, and I live in Pennsylvania near Philadelphia. I have Asperger's, which means I have high functioning autism. I also have mental health issues, but my medications have been helping real well. I have not let these issues hold me back from doing my awesome work. and I make assistive technology and communication devices. I've gained a lot of interest in my communication boards for first responders, and I was even on the news, as you just saw. I will talk about more of this later, but I hope you get the video gave you a brief idea of what I do. During this presentation, you will explore the role of AAC in emergencies with people who have disabilities, gain a better understanding of the life experience that someone has with autism, and you will learn strategies to help first responders understand people with disabilities. I wanted to share a little bit about my childhood to let you know my story. My childhood was normal until I reached kindergarten. That's when I was provided with an IEP or individualized education program. Sorry. So when I reached second grade, I was tested and diagnosed with Asperger's. It was very hard during that time for my parents with hearing that I got autism and my parents got divorced pretty much because it was just rough times. My diagnosis was very stressful for my parents. It caused them to fight and eventually caused them to get divorced. When I was in the second grade, my biggest challenge was accepting my parents' separation, and that was about the time my behavior started. It was very hard for me in school. Around that time, I started to meet with a therapist for about 2 years, and when things stopped, things went back to being not so good. I started acting out in fits of rage that would usually end in a lot of arguing with my parents. I had trouble adjusting to living in two households, and when I was in the fourth grade, I started wraparound services with Elwin. Wraparound services are family services for the family, and in the education setting as well, and in the home. Elwyn's after-school program is one of the most, sorry, I'm just getting stressed out now, is one component of the wraparound service that helped me gain skills for social situations. In the spring of fourth grade, I started attending the Elwyn after-school program. They helped me learn social skills along with other people who had autism. It was an awesome experience for me. When I started, there was a little bit of trouble, but once I made friends, I fit in just fine. I also learned more about how to help people with disabilities by watching the staff. I remember seeing people use visual supports to help their behavior issues, and seeing my peers with communication devices and other supports sparked my interest so much. If they only knew what I was going to be doing today, they would probably be so impressed. When I reached the end of middle school, my behaviors got worse again. I aged out of Elwyn services, and what made it worse was my dad got remarried to someone who was really mean to me and didn't understand me. The behavioral issues continued into high school when I received an assignment, and I got lots of anxiety and I would get extremely angry. I would kick chairs and refuse to do my work. This was when I got introduced to one of my favorite teachers. She was very good at helping me and my other teachers understand my challenges and find ways to help me. She helped me until I reached 11th grade, and that was when I needed to be put on medication. And my behaviors were way too severe for school, and that is why I needed to go to a special school because of my depression and anxiety. Eventually, I had to go to the hospital because of how bad the behavior issues got. Up till 2 years ago, I was in and out of hospitals, and I almost had to go to residential until the doctors found a good mix of medication for me. It caused my mood to get way better, and I started to work on my passion project a lot more. Once I felt better, I started to go to more conferences and attend training sessions. I eventually partnered with Toby Dynavox and Boardmaker to work on projects for them for people who have disabilities and people who are nonverbal. Today I work with tons of companies, and I was recently on the podcast with Star Autism Support to talk about my communication boards and switch adapting. Switch adapting works with the wiring of toys to make it so when you plug in a switch, the toy can be powered with one press of a switch. And if you guys, on my Instagram later, I'm gonna have it up. If you follow me, you're gonna see all the AAC stuff I do, and then you'll see how I've done switches and lots of switch adapted stuff. And I'm working on making AAC and my switches combine into bigger projects. I realized there was a need for communication boards in my community, so I started to make communication boards for first responders. I started this project because I was afraid of the police, and I needed some, and I was so afraid of the police, I had somewhat okay experience with the police during my mental health problems, but I wanted them to be better for others. The police officers use my communication boards to talk with people who are nonverbal or maybe too afraid to communicate. With the officers, they will point to the symbols on the board, and the person will do the same to communicate back to the officer. If you would like communications boards, please reach out to me at the end of the session. Here are some examples of the police communication board I made for first responders. This is my third version of the board. I have also made a new board every time I've gotten a new symbol software, including Cough Drop, but I'm trying to make that one with QR code so people can scan on their phone. But the one that I made in Boardmaker is for people who are nonverbal, for people who are too afraid to talk. And if somebody was afraid, they could point to the scared symbol on the board to communicate that. Also, there were symbols for the board for people who have sensory issues. An example of somebody who may have sensory issues, someone who has autism, that person could say too loud, too bright, or if the person wants to touch something for sensory, they can say touch or don't touch. Also, someone with autism could say headphones, or they can use the board to ask for a break. Someone who uses a high-tech device can point to the communication device talker button to let the first responder know they have a high-tech device and they can use it. Something I would like to add in the future is an option for somebody who's nonverbal for the ask for a switch or for like AAC, like a Big Mac or step by step, and then if they happen to have it with them. Another example would be if they had a small eye gaze board or a person that had an eye gaze board with them, like a staff member. Also, I'd like to add letters and numbers to the board in the future if I can find space for the board on the board. Finally, on this page, I want to show one of my other recent boards I made for Thanksgiving. It was made in Symbol 6 Prime and it was printed out on 2 pieces of paper to make the size of a placemat. It is for people to communicate what they want at Thanksgiving dinner, and it has examples of the things on the board for foods such as turkey or mashed potatoes, and words to communicate how much food someone might like more or unfinished if the person gets full. They can also use the board to ask for help, and I hope you enjoyed the boards, and if you would want a custom one, please reach out to me. I started my first responder project with my dad, who was an EMT chief at the fire company. I made communication boards for him first, and he put them in the ambulance. From there, my work expanded to police officers and soon local police departments had my boards. I set up meetings with them to show them how to use the boards, and I also tried to get pictures of every police department that got the boards. They agreed to put the boards in their police cars for easy access. When I make the boards, I usually make them in an equal amount of boards for their patrol cars. I have communication boards in over 300 police cars around the US. And for example, the Richland County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina and Pasco County, Florida. My goal is to have all police and sheriff's departments in the US have my boards, and for all departments to have training with people who have disabilities. The Board Maker Idea Book. Starting in August of 2022, I started to make projects added to the Board Maker Idea Book. The Board Maker Idea Book is a PDF where activities made by teachers and therapists using Board Maker can add them for others to use. Board Maker is a software for teachers that teachers and therapists can use for teaching and to make communication materials for people with disabilities. It's been a great experience for me to show other teachers and therapists what I've made. In the Board Maker Idea Book, you can create awesome resources to show around the world to people who work in the disability field. Also, if you get something accepted in the Idea Book, you can get some swag like a playground sign or a Board Maker scarf. Here are my Board Maker projects I've made for the last year. This one is the game's fortune teller. If somebody has trouble choosing what game they want to play, it can help them choose. Also shown on this page is the Who Do You Ask for Help activity to help kids and young adults figure out when they need to call 911 and they need to ask for. For example, police, fire, and EMS. To access this feature and others from the Idea Book, you'll need a BoardMaker 7 trial or BoardMaker 7. I have included a QR code to scan. It will take you to the Go BoardMaker website where you can download the current Idea Book and other ones from the past for free. If you're interested in learning about BoardMaker or any of the other projects I make, please reach out to me via the email at the end of this presentation. I'll give you a couple seconds to download the link. Here are some of my favorite projects that I have created. The first one is the spinning core board that was originally made by Mary Catherine Daly from AAC for All on Instagram. She made this for her preschool class to give them the way to communicate and learn new words that can help them. 2 summers ago, me and my dad made one using pool noodles and PVC pipe. There are lots of cool assistive technology tools you can make using PVC. but it's very expensive. The symbols were from Boardmaker Core Board, which is a very useful communication board for therapists and teachers to use. It has been very fun teaching my parents about assistive technology by making these projects. It is great that they are learning about it and supporting me in my endeavors. During the last school year, when assistive technology sparked my interest, I started talking about what I learned and brought my projects into school. I brought my adapted switches and 3D printed assistive technology into school, and my teachers got very interested in what I did. They let me work on my projects in school. For example, I worked on board maker projects and made videos I needed to make for AT champions during the school day. Eventually, I made lessons for my teachers, and when I didn't totally understand what we were working on, they let me make a board maker project to help the class learn it as well. One time I made a lesson on board maker that the whole class participated in, and my teacher got very excited about this and counted that lesson and activities as my quiz. This helped me succeed more in school when I joined the N2Y Social Squad. I got access to the special education teacher website, and I would send lessons from Unique Learning System and News to You to my teacher, and we would teach them to the class with my guidance. We took the picture to the left side when we first taught the lessons together. Taking that picture was one of my favorite memories in school because the kids were giving us lots of trouble and taking the picture was so chaotic. Also, when I was in school, I made good friends with 2 of the service dogs in the picture to the right. The teachers and the pups really helped me get through my senior year, and they have a special part in my heart for helping me. And the bigger dog is Harry, and the smaller dog with the blue vest is Frankie. In November of 2022, I started working with TechAL on their projects. TechAL is a state assistive technology program in Pennsylvania. I originally started in October 2022 when I joined the state network meeting, but then I qualified to join their AT Champions program, where they ask people with disabilities to come to their meetings, learn about assistive technology, including fabrication and disability rights. I had a lot of fun with that program, and I took what I learned into my school and started making videos and teaching my teachers about assistive technology. I continue with the network meetings to this day, and it's been a lot of fun working with TechAL on my projects. Recently, I went to the wheelchair repair workshop as shown on the right side of the slide. Me and my dad really enjoyed learning about repairing wheelchairs, and we even have kits that we can use if we ever need to fix one. ES Gaming and Game on State projects. During the last year I was in school, we participated in volunteer work at a senior center. After we were done, our class walked up the street to a place called Game on State. It's a time play arcade where you can pay at the counter and you can play all you want till your time is done. We enjoyed playing the games and chilling in the store. The arcade hires people with disabilities to learn job skills and work in an inclusive space, complete with a wheelchair lift to help disabled people get to the back of the store. There is also a quiet area towards the back of the arcade where the lights are dim and it is quieter for people who have sensory issues. After the class came back one more time in the spring, I finally got to meet the owners. We met again in June of 2023, and afterward we planned the first sensory friendly night at Game on State. Sensory friendly night was for people on the spectrum so they can enjoy the arcade with dim lights, lower volume, and quiet areas for people who need a calming space. During the month of July, I received a call from Amy, the owner of Game on State, asking me to come to the store and meet some workers from Easter Seals. They have a program called ES Gaming. ES Gaming brings together young people with disabilities who love video games. In July, they had their ES Gaming night at Game on State. I was able to bring in the adapted Xbox controller from Tech Al's lending library, and we had fun with some of the workers from Game on State. Got very excited to test out the new way of playing the Xbox, and I was in the picture in the middle of the slide. We hope to get more people together in the future for these events. So that's me and Pedro. Pedro has a PRC cell tele device on the left side, the Xbox control in the middle, and on the right side it is a picture of me and Amy, and Amy's the owner of Game on State. Jessica's Communication Services, my self-owned business, goes to a lot of events around my area. This year I got to meet Jamil Owens, who works with Children's Hospital Philadelphia. He works with the Center of Autism Research. We have become good friends. He has invited me to many events, including the Autism Town Hall during Autism Acceptance Month, and I was later asked to give a speech at the Autism Playdate in August. I set up a booth with my dad, and after that event, I was asked to be interviewed on a podcast called the Star Autism Annex. It was, Autism Annex. The company was Star Autism Support. It was recently released anywhere where you can get your podcast, and I hope to go to more events in the future. Please let me know if there's any events that you know of that are hopefully on the East Coast. So my work on social media, I would like to end the presentation by sharing some of my favorite social media work on my Instagram page. This is where I talk about my projects and resources for therapists and other with my other assistive technology friends. This is where I learn more about AT and AAC, and now I want to talk about more of the things I've made that have been really popular on my Instagram. This is my Instagram, and I believe I have it at the end of my presentation as well.
So, hey, Jessica, why don't you tell me a little bit about this post here that I'm looking at on your screen?
So this post was when I was at the Bricks and Minis Fig store grand opening in September in New Jersey. And they had two Brickmasters from the Lego Masters TV show. They won season 1. They were there, and this is the first topic I want to talk about. It is me giving my communication boards to the owners of the store, and I got to meet with them, those two Lego Masters, and it was actually kind of fun talking to them about AT, and they were very, very impressed with the communication board. And I actually went back to the Lego store a couple weeks ago, and they still had my board up, and it was very nice. All right, next one.
Wow, this one looks really interesting. Tell me what's going on here.
So in this post, I wanted to was waiting for a while wanting to get a blow up to use with my power link. That's the machine that I plugged the switch into, and it makes the blow up work. And I actually found the same blow up that speech therapist Mary Catherine Daly used. And I was surprised that I actually found that exact one. It was on clearance. So we tested it out. We made a bucket with some decorations around it. And at our town's trunk or treat, we put it up and all the little kids loved pressing the button and getting to watch the toy blow up. And I actually set the power link to deflate after 1 minute so every kid could blow it up. It was actually a lot of fun. It was one of my first, it's probably my first blow up I ever used on it. So it
It
was,
looks really fun.
yeah.
Can you play it again so I can see it a little bit more?
So you press the switch and it would make it blow up. And we put it in the milk crate so it would stay like put together more, like so it would look better going up and down.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, you can end.
Wow, there's some cool AAC and toy stuff going on here. Tell me about this one.
So this was probably one of my favorite things to make with the switches. This is another one that I asked Mary Catherine Daly for a little bit of help with, like with deciding what words I wanted to use for the switches. So I laminated some symbols and duct taped them onto my cardboard switches I make. And I used the duct tape to match the colors, like if you were looking on a board maker core board. So the first one I did, I wish I could reset that. The first one I did was a train that I made it so it said go. You would press down on the switch and it would make the train go. Then the next one I made was the fan, where you could press the button and it would go for the settings or it would stop the fan. Then the third one I did was I see the lava lamp light. So when you would press down on the switch, it would make the lamp go. Then the next one is let's make the toucan say something. So you would press down on the button, he would start singing and dancing around. And then the last one makes the you press the switch and it will make the rainbow light up. So yeah, that was pretty fun. Most of the toys we got, I either bought pre-switch adapted or like the fan and the light, me and my dad actually switch adapt. All right, next one. And this is the last one. So this is my last post. Probably one of the better ones that I did. That this got a lot of attention too. But this one was when me and my dad and my mom were at the DCIU, which is a local school in our area, their assistive technology art show. And I kind of took it to the next step with my AT info and what I do. And I made a box that lights up with the different ways you can communicate on the paper with a switch adapted light. So if you see, you can press the switch and that box will light up. I brought tons of switches to show off. And I also got to see some of my old teachers from Garnet Valley who really haven't seen me since my mental health was really bad. And they were very impressed to see how much I've changed and gotten better. And I got to see all my DCIU AT friends. You guys should follow them on Instagram. they were all happy to see me, and we got to see some Patan people too, so it was really nice. So, thank you for listening today. If you have any questions, let me know. And this is my information.
Wonderful. Yes, as a reminder, we are in track 1 on Slack. So if anybody has any comments, questions, discussion topics, I will read those out now. Please type them in. No questions yet, Jessica. We'll give it one more minute.
Okay.
Make sure to leave up your info so people can jot that down and follow you on Instagram.
Wasn't really my best presentation. I think it messed me up having that person yell outside the door.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I thought the presentation was wonderful. You got lots
No,
of
that's
good
why I
information.
had to mute because the person was like talking real loud on their phone outside the door. My dad told me it would be quieter in the conference room, and that was obviously wrong.
Oh no. Yeah, that can be distracting when you're trying to present. Well, great. Thank you so much for your presentation today. It will be
Real
on
fast
YouTube.
before we go,
Oh yeah, this is great.
I'm gonna
Let's
show a more recent one.
I would love that.
It's not a really good picture of the frog, but it's my cardboard switches I make. This is the first switch adapter thing we made that jumps around.
Oh, how fun. Where'd you get that frog?
Five Below, and that's the switch. I got him really good on my Cricut, so I cut out vinyl on the Cricut and put it on the switches that I make, like only the cardboard one. I'm not gonna put it on like a jelly bean, but
Very neat. Do you ever offer classes or instructions on how to do this?
I'm not that good at the switch I'm not that good at the switch adapting, but when my dad'll like have to do the soldering parts.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a little easier for me to make the battery interrupters and put them in the ports. But when it comes to my dad just hooking the cord onto a little button, I can go wild with these cardboard things. Like this one I made for it's an adult show, it's called Has Been Hotel. And my dad'll solder the buttons and all, and I'll just go nuts with designing the switches.
How fun is that?
And then that's a core board I made with the characters from the show with like a different character for each type of symbol. Then I made like a visual reward chart for the characters. Like obviously this wouldn't be something to use with like younger kids because the show has like a lot of cursing in it and like it's like very inappropriate topics. But then I also made these for if anybody knows Lakeshore Learning. I got their little dough cutters, and then I got a PV, like it was like a cord wrap, like for a pipe wrap, and then I got the twisty cord ties, and I used them to make it go strapped on. So
That's
it's
great.
easier grip. And then finally I could go nuts with this. But here's another one that I made out of PVC pipe that you can just stick the Play-Doh thing in and you can just grab it by the handle I made with the felt. And I don't know how well it would work. It wasn't really something that somebody asked for. It was kind of just something that was like, oh, this might be fun to make with a PVC pipe.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not gonna share all my Instagram stuff all day.
Yes, leave them wanting more so they'll go follow you. So there were a few comments, Jessica. Olivia said you did amazing. Rachel said, awesome job, Jessica. Young said, you did so well, Jessica. I loved hearing your story. You are an inspiration. And Kimberly said, wow, I'm so impressed. So you got some
Oh.
great comments.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Well, I guess I had to get off now, but I could be talking all day. I don't want to talk all day.
No, thank you so much for sharing all your resources, and thanks for attending AAC in the Cloud.
All right. See ya, everybody. Have a good rest of the conference.